Welcome to our channel where we delve into the shadows, embracing the chills that run down your spine, where the unknown whispers and legends come to life. Tonight, we journey into the heart of darkness, exploring the unsettling phenomenon of unexplained lights in haunted valleys. These are not just flickering flames or distant car headlights. These are lights that defy explanation, lights that seem to pulsate with an eerie energy, lights that beckon and terrify in equal measure. We have 3 stories for you tonight, each one more unsettling than the last. So lock your doors, turn off the lights, and prepare to be enveloped by the darkness. Imagine a group of friends, 4 adventurers drawn to the beauty of nature, setting off on a weekend hike into the remote, untouched wilderness. They were filled with the thrill of adventure, their backpacks laden with supplies, their laughter echoing through the ancient trees. They were wholly unprepared for the terror that awaited them. The valley they chose was known for its breathtaking views and challenging trails, a place where nature reigned supreme. It was also a place whispered to be haunted, shrouded in local legends of strange lights and unexplained disappearances. But our hikers, young and full of bravado, dismissed these stories as mere folklore. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows that danced ominously through the trees, the hikers decided to set up camp for the night. They found a clearing, a small patch of earth, seemingly untouched by the encroaching forest. A sense of unease settled over them as darkness fell, the silence broken only by the crackling of their campfire. Their laughter died down, replaced by hushed whispers as they shared stories of the supernatural. And then they saw it. A faint glow, flickering in the distance like a beacon in the heart of the valley. At first they dismissed it as moonlight reflecting off the leaves, but as the light grew stronger, pulsating with an unnatural rhythm, their blood ran cold. One of the hikers, a young man named Jake, tried to rationalize the light, suggesting it might be a ranger's signal, but his words rang hollow even to his own ears. The light was like nothing he had ever seen, an ethereal glow that seemed to pulse with an energy that sent shivers down his spine. As the night deepened, the light grew closer, accompanied by an eerie silence that seemed to suffocate them. The hikers huddled closer to the fire, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames and a growing sense of dread. Fear, raw and primal, took root in their hearts. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence. One of the hikers, a young woman named Sarah, pointed a trembling finger toward the edge of the woods. 2 points of light, malevolent and piercing, stared back at them from the darkness. Panic surged through the group. They scrambled to their feet, their backpacks and supplies forgotten as they ran blindly through the trees. The light followed, moving with an unnatural speed, its glow illuminating the forest floor in flashes of sickly green. They ran until their lungs burned and their legs screamed for mercy, the sound of their pursuer close behind. Finally, they stumbled into a clearing, collapsing onto the cold earth, gasping for breath. They looked around, their hearts pounding, but the light was gone. They waited until dawn, huddling together for warmth and comfort, their eyes darting nervously at every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig. When the first rays of sunlight pierced through the canopy, painting the forest floor in hues of gold and orange, they dared to breathe again. They made their way back to the trail, their bodies battered and bruised, their minds still reeling from the horrors of the night. They never spoke of what they had seen, but the memory of that night, the chilling glow of the unexplained lights, forever haunted their dreams. The old Victorian house stood at the edge of town, perched precariously on a hill overlooking the valley. It was a grand old thing, with its intricate gables, stained glass windows, and a sprawling porch that whispered of forgotten grandeur. To the Bennett family, it was the perfect place to start a new life. They were unaware of the darkness that lurked beneath its charming facade. John and Mary Bennett, along with their 2 young children, were filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation as they moved into their new home. The house was a steal, purchased for a price that seemed too good to be true. The realtor had been quick to dismiss any concerns, attributing the low price to the need for a quick sale. The first few days were idyllic. The children, 8-year-old Emily and 6-year-old Ethan, delighted in exploring the nooks and crannies of their sprawling home. John, a writer, set up his office in a room overlooking the valley, hoping to find inspiration in the peaceful surroundings. Mary busied herself with unpacking and making the house their own. But as the days turned into nights, a sense of unease settled over the family. It started subtly, with strange noises coming from the attic, the scurrying of tiny feet, the soft whisper of voices. Emily refused to sleep alone, claiming that shadows danced on her bedroom walls. Then came the lights. Every night, as the valley below was swallowed by darkness, an eerie glow would emanate from the depths of the valley, casting an unsettling luminescence on the house. It was as if something was watching them, its eyes burning with an unnatural light. John, a man of logic and reason, initially dismissed the lights as car headlights from the distant highway. But as the nights went on, and the lights continued their nightly spectacle, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. One night, driven by a growing sense of dread, John decided to investigate. He grabbed his flashlight and ventured down into the valley, determined to find a rational explanation for the unsettling lights. The air grew colder as he descended, the trees pressing in on him, their branches like skeletal fingers reaching out to claim him. He followed the direction of the lights, his heart pounding in his chest. The glow grew stronger, illuminating the forest floor in an otherworldly light. And then he saw it. A clearing, bathed in an eerie green light, and in the center a circle of figures. They were tall and slender, their bodies seeming to shift and shimmer in the strange light. Their eyes, burning like embers, were fixed on him. John froze, his blood turning to ice in his veins. He wanted to scream, to run, but his legs refused to obey. He stood there, paralyzed by fear, as the figures began to move towards him, their movements fluid and unnatural. The storm had rolled in with the sudden ferocity of a wild beast, unleashing its fury upon the valley. Rain lashed down, the wind howled like a banshee, and the once familiar path was now a treacherous torrent of mud and debris. Lost and disoriented, David cursed his decision to take this shortcut. He had been traveling for days, his journey taking him through some of the most remote and unforgiving terrain. He was on his way to a small town nestled in the heart of the valley, a place shrouded in local legends and whispered to be untouched by time. Now, as darkness descended and the storm raged on, he feared he might not live to see the dawn. Just when his hope began to dwindle, he saw it, a light, faint at first, flickering in the distance. It was a beacon of hope in the overwhelming darkness, a lifeline to salvation. With renewed determination, he stumbled towards the light, his soaked clothes clinging to his weary body. As he drew closer, the light grew stronger, illuminating a path through the storm-ravaged landscape. It seemed to beckon him forward, guiding him through the treacherous terrain. But as he followed the light, a sense of unease began to gnaw at his gut. The air grew colder, the wind whispering through the trees, sounding like mournful cries. The rain, which had been relentless, suddenly stopped, as if the storm itself was holding its breath. He felt an overwhelming sense of dread, a primal fear that sent shivers down his spine. He considered turning back, but the light, now pulsating with an unnatural rhythm, drew him forward. It was as if something was controlling him, compelling him to reach its source. He stumbled on, his senses heightened, his heart pounding against his ribs like a drum. He emerged into a clearing, bathed in an eerie, ethereal light. In the center stood an ancient tree, its gnarled branches reaching towards the sky like skeletal arms. And at the base of the tree, he saw the source of the light. It was a lantern, its flame burning bright despite the lack of fuel. But it was not the lantern that made his blood run cold. It was the figure standing beside it. It was a woman, dressed in a long white gown, her hair cascading down her back like a waterfall of silver. Her face, pale and ethereal, was turned towards him, her eyes burning with an unnatural light. She smiled, a slow, predatory smile that sent shivers down his spine. He tried to speak, to ask for help, but his voice caught in his throat. He tried to turn and run, but his legs felt rooted to the spot, as if bound by an invisible force. The woman took a step towards him, her movements fluid and graceful, her eyes never leaving his. And there you have it. 3 terrifying tales of unexplained lights in haunted valleys that will keep you up at night. The darkness holds many secrets, some we are meant to uncover, and some best left undisturbed. If you enjoyed these stories, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling content. And if you have any terrifying encounters of your own, share them in the comments below. Until next time, sleep tight, and remember, sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones we cannot explain.